Hello, I chose to do a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game. I like this template because it was kind of set up a little bit differently from other ones that I looked at. This one has a scoreboard that you can input the students' names and keep score as a class. You can do it where they play individually or they can play in teams. This was made in Google Slides, so you can share this slide with them and they can keep track of their own scores. One of the other things that I liked about this one was that it had a question bank and you didn't have to go in order of the questions. You can skip around or they can choose which question they want to answer. I'm just going to go in order. One of the other things I liked that it had was it has this 30-second timer that plays the actual Who Wants to Be a Millionaire music. Okay. There it is. So it plays the music as it gives them 30 seconds to read and answer the question. So I'm going to start with my first question. My first question was a makerspace can be physical only, physical or virtual, virtual only, neither physical nor virtual. The answer is physical or virtual. A makerspace can be a physical space where they actually do hands-on projects such as arts and crafts, STEM projects, or they can play board games, play with Legos, use Legos to build, or it can be virtual where they could use an iPad to play a game or to do coding. Which of the following does not describe learning in a makerspace? And the answer is that it has structured instructions telling students what steps to follow. So when they're in a makerspace, it could lead to inventing. They could invent something. It could be DIY meets education, arts and crafts, a do-it-yourself project. And it also takes advantage of multiple learning styles. So kids learn in different ways, and Makerspace allows them to learn in their different styles. The U in UTEX stands for using. Which of the following is not an example of using? And the answer would be experimenting different ways to build something. So the using level is the learning how level, and they're engaging in something new. So they explore and learn how to use materials they've never used before. They can play board games that they've never played before, and they can also use materials that others have created. The T in UTEX stands for tinkering. Which of the following is not an example of tinkering? And the answer is D, placing a container of Legos on a table for students to play with. So in order for it to be tinkering, they can question and research better ways. They can make changes to someone else's creation, or they are having a contest to see who can build the best model of the Alamo using Legos. Just putting a container of Legos on the table for students to play with puts them at the using level. The E in UTEX stands for experimenting. Which of the following is an example of experimenting? That would be building, trying, failing, repurposing, modifying, and testing theories in addition to learning from failures. So the E is where they design something new. They learn from their failures and their successes. They organize experiments in order to learn. The C in UTEX stands for creating. Which of the following is an example of creating? And so creating is the final level, and this is where they are doing their independent thinking. They come up with some kind of result. It could be a product. They design an invention. And so the answer would be using a 3D printer to make a final product or invention. According to Tricia Kwan's definition of Makerspace, a finished product, brain growth, knowledge, an idea, or question to be further investigated should be, and the answer is created. Makerspace should result in creating something, but it doesn't always have to be something that's physical. And the finished product doesn't have to be seen. The 5 C's are important 21st century learning skills that are demonstrated through the engagement of Makerspace. Which of the 5 C's has students working together and building on each other's ideas? And that would be collaboration. In creativity, they're designing innovative solutions, finding new paths of thinking. In critical thinking, they're being self-reflective and asking those thoughtful questions. And in citizenship, they're showing how to be respectful and positive toward others and setting good examples. Collaboration is working together and building on those skills, which doesn't always mean just working together, but it's listening to others and being respectful to what their ideas. Which of the following is a skill area that is developed in makerspaces but does not end in a finished physical product? The answer is all of the above. Through Makerspace, they can gain greater spatial ability, increase logical reasoning skills, and advance critical thinking. And one of the examples they gave was puzzles. Some kids are good at them, some are not. But even if they're not good at the puzzles, all of these skills can be developed. Which of the following is not a benefit of Makerspace? Bringing lessons to life through student engagement is a benefit. Interactive and teamwork happens naturally in Makerspace is a benefit, and it allows for exploration, creativity, and critical thinking. It can be very expensive is not a benefit. Even though it can be expensive, it doesn't always have to be expensive. There are many other different needs, such as it's a huge attraction. It's unstructured time allows for intense thought processing. It's a great enrichment source, and it meets the needs of many students with a wide range of learning styles. Which of the following is not a downside? Not a downside of Makerspace. So there are some downsides to Makerspace, such as cost. It can be expensive. Time and management. Sometimes there's just not enough time and there has to be someone to manage. It can be messy and it can be noisy. But one of the not downsides is that it does increase the use of the library. So that's actually a benefit. The benefit of using Bloom's taxonomy to allow students to use higher forms of thinking and learning is developing higher order thinking skills. So Bloom's taxonomy has many levels from low level questioning to higher order thinking, and we want our students to be able to think in those higher order thinking skills. Which of the following is not a benefit of using Makerspace? Aligns while the STEAM activities is a benefit. Curriculum connections and enrichment is a benefit. Brain growth, left brain and right brain activities are benefits. And needs expensive tools for students to work with is not a benefit. And actually, we don't need expensive tools to work with. Which mindset fosters the idea that talents and abilities can be developed through effort, and educators are encouraged to praise hard work? And that would be the growth mindset. Growth mindset is using their talents is the mindset that talents and abilities can be developed, whereas fixed mindset is that learners strive to look smart and resist trying to learn harder concepts because they don't want to look like they're not smart. Libraries make great places for makerspaces because the answer is all answers are correct. They are the biggest classrooms in the school. Libraries are centers for learning, knowledge, and books, and libraries have been storage centers for information for as long as they have existed. Can maker spaces be implemented in a teacher's classroom? Yes, they can be implemented. And in fact, it enriches the curriculum with hands-on learning. It allows for experiences that foster skills such as problem solving, exploration, as well as the 5 C's. When considering a space for makerspace, which of the following is not a consideration that should be made? Needs its own room or building? No, it doesn't. But some things that you can consider are flexible, movable furniture, spacious areas with areas for collaboration and individual workspace is great. Storage areas for materials and works in progress and other things such as areas for stations, electrical outlets is good, internet access, and brainstorming tools such as whiteboards. Which is not a reason why educators have not implemented Makerspace. The answer is they are not intrigued or interested in Makerspace. In fact, they are intrigued and they are intrigued by the idea of makerspaces, but they haven't implemented them because they are fearful of doing it wrong or being judged. Their knowledge and understanding is limited, and many of them have not heard of makerspaces. And because the definition of a makerspace is so not a good definition, it's really hard for them to just jump into it. Makerspaces should only be high-tech and expensive. The answer is false. Makerspaces can be low-tech and inexpensive. It could be things such as toilet paper rolls and paper and crayons and scissors and glue, and it could be an arts and crafts station. Makerspaces help students become better problem solvers, and the answer is true. Problem solving skills are necessary and students struggle with them, and it gives them non-stressful opportunities to practice problem solving. And that is it. Thank you. Once again, thank you, and I hope you enjoy.